YoungHotelier.com is delighted to be joined here today with Chef Stuart, who is our chef de cuisine at Tang, which is the only restaurant in the Middle East that employs molecular gastronomy in its cooking. Thank you for taking the time to join us.
No problem.
Can you tell us, Stuart, firstly, why it is that you became a chef?
It's quite a funny story. When I was 6 years old, I used to play football on a Sunday morning.
Okay.
My mum used to come home, when I used to come back from football, my mum used to do the Sunday dinner, and I used to stay, make cakes with her and stuff like that. And then I started helping my brother at T&T when I was about 17. And then my best friend was a commie chef. So he's the head chef. I was playing football with his kitchen team.
Right.
The executive chef asked me if I wanted to be a chef. Always wanted to be a chef. And that was it.
Very good. We've heard that obviously you work with molecular gastronomy, so I suppose, can you tell us in layman's terms for anyone who's watching this, what it is, I suppose, and how you use it in your work?
Molecular gastronomy is like a scientific approach to a cuisine. Like in our kitchen, we have 1,400 products, ranging from liquid nitrogen, as we're going to later, texturers, which is natural. Everything we use in Tang is natural. Okay. From texturers, which is from algae, to 26 different types of salt from around the world.
Wow.
We're the only restaurant in the Middle East to use fresh wasabi. But to answer your question, molecular gastronomy is like a scientific approach. It takes, like we do a hot jelly or hot jelly with hot ice cream. So it's transforming from a normal dish to change it to something which, how do they do that? Or you do like a thin caramel sheet with ice cream in the middle, when everybody knows if you have cold ice cream with a thin layer of caramel, straight away it's going to melt. So then they're like, how do they do that? So it's really, like I just said, it's the scientific approach, understanding your products, and then just expanding it instead of being classical or classical to modern like most restaurants are. Like, you know, it's thinking outside the box.
Okay.
It's like
playing with their palate, I suppose.
Creating a palate. Like we like to start off with sometimes sour to sweet, or we
the one dish this is.
Yeah,
so at the onset
So
it is.
the thing is, the more dishes you put on, the more your tongue and your palate is trying to react. So I was always taught at an early age, maximum 5 things on a plate.
Okay.
So everything has to be associated with that dish. You don't just put a piece of chervil on a dish. The chervil has to be there for a reason, because the flavour of the chervil, you want it in the dish.
Okay.
Or rosemary with duck, because they complement each other. Don't put rosemary with beef, because rosemary will be too strong of a herb for the beef. Okay. And that's what molecular gastronomy is as well.
Where has this concept come from?
For instance, the most famous restaurant at the moment, and the chef is Fran Andrea El Bulli. He's been voted the best chef in the world. Best restaurant. It's either him or it's always between him and the Fat Duck, Heston Blumenthal in England, in Bray. He basically originally started the concept in 97. Started off small, and then started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. He's only open 6 months of the year, so the other 6 months he's doing research, because he has his own lab.
Actually in a laboratory?
He has his own laboratory.
Researching food? Researching.
And just pushing and pushing and pushing for 6 months of the year. Then he has his restaurant open for 6 months.
Okay.
And then he has a book out. He has 5 books out.
Right.
They're like £10 in weight each book. And everybody who's a professional chef knows who Fran Andrea is, and Heston Blumenthal. And they're totally different concept of cooking to Gordon Ramsay. So Gordon Ramsay would do, steak and fries, pomme neuf, medium rare, best
in an inventive,
beef.
yes,
yeah. And then they would do maybe air fries with beef soil or beef powder or salt. Just to give you a comparison, just a different.
So it's scientifically.
Scientific approach.
Studying and breaking down food and rebuilding it.
Yeah, because it's all about knowing your products, going away, studying your products, what goes with each other, and then doing something different.
Okay. And at Tang, obviously, it was a fusion originally between French and Asian.
Yeah.
How would you operate within that spectrum?
It's like, for instance, like Stefan Bosolzo, he came here 3 years ago from New York. He's the one who created Tang. I have to mention that because at the end of the day, it's only fair. I came here 10 months ago.
Okay.
Basically, it's all the Asian products. We have like 8 or 9 different types of soy sauce, from citrus to smoked soy. We're the only restaurant to use fresh wasabi. But any top chef would tell you, to be a good chef, you have to know your background, and be like classically French is like a foundation.
Right. Okay.
So to move on to make a sauce in our restaurant, you have to know your classic sauces, from
a Béarnaise
to sauce de vin to a classical red wine, Burgundy.
Because obviously they're the bases and the foundations that you're working.
Yeah, and then basically, you know, if you spoke to Stefan or Corrado, they would tell you the same. You have to start with, like, any cuisine around the world. You have to know your basics. You have to know your products, the ingredients, the seasons, the time of the year, or what's the point in trying to do something more modern, more experimental, and when you don't even know your basics? So you're trying to run before you can walk, basically.
Tell me, you spoke about the foundation, because I'm sure there's a couple of people watching this that may be considering a culinary career, possibly, and what would your advice to people be? If
they want to get into being a chef, the thing that, I've been a chef now 12 years, what they should do is, in my opinion, is you either want to be a chef or you don't. There's nothing in between. If you want to do it, you have to, for instance, I was taught by my mentor, and he's not just my best friend, but he's an amazing chef.
Okay.
He's a good inspiration, and he's my mentor. He said, in the end of the day, knowledge is king. The more you study, the more you investigate, the more you understand experiment, the more you know your products, the more powerful you're going to become, like in your job and my job, basically. But just don't be a face in the crowd. If you want to do it properly. Go to a top school, study when you're free, eat out.
Yeah.
Eat out from, say for instance, you start off as a commie in a whatever bistro, local restaurant, or a top fine dining, but starting in wherever country you're in. Like if you're in England, you start in a Michelin. It's going to be tough at the beginning, at the end of the day, but it all falls together as one at the end. But just make sure you eat out around your competitors to know what they're doing. You study new trends and everything else, just to know what is going on with your career and your trade. You have to know your trade, and know that everything you do has to be consistent, has to be like you're cooking for your mum and dad or the most special person. Have a bit of pride, but also have a bit of morals and respect for yourself, because I always believe, like I tell my chefs, you have to respect yourself before they respect me. I don't demand any respect, I like to earn it. And you're always learning. Like Marco Pierre White, the youngest 3-star chef to achieve it in England, he always wore a butcher's apron, because to him, it was like when he was a commie, it was a commie apron.
Yeah.
So he always wore a butcher's apron, because he's always said, I'm a commie. I'm always learning. Okay. And that's a simple...
It's a good concept, actually.
It's an amazing concept, and you know, and the simple fact of the matter is, Aaron, you just enjoy your job. It's going to be long hours. It's going to be hard, but the more you think I'm tired, it's more a mental approach. If you have a strong mind and you're strong at mental what you do, if you think you're tired, you're going to be tired.
Yeah.
If you think I'm enjoying my job, I'm loving it, you don't look at the clock.
And you forget about being tired.
Yeah, it's like a professional
Even though
footballer.
you may be. Yeah.
He plays in front of 75,000 people.
For how long?
If he starts listening to 75,000 voices, he's not concentrating on the game. It's like in a kitchen. When you're in service, you listen to one voice, like in Tang, it's mine on the pass, and then it's like one fluid motion. And a kitchen is like a family, because when you first start out, you're going to be doing long hours, between 14, 16 hours a day, you know, and you'll be going to college as well, you'll be studying and everything else. It kind of takes over your life, but it's up to you if you want that. Or you start playing in the kitchen, you go in earlier before anybody else, you start creating dishes, you give it to your chef to taste, or you ask your chef, can you give me some ideas. Always don't think you're on your own, don't think you know it all, because 2 heads are better than 1 with a dish. You think, this is how I want it, someone else could come in, well, what if you do it this way? And you think, hang on a minute, this is better. Because sometimes it's better with someone else to bounce ideas off, because you get a better dish.